You heard my joke, what?
No, I like your joke, that's for sure. Call this meeting to order. Roll call, Shannon.
Commissioner Gandy,
Here.
Mayor Trujillo,
Here.
Commissioner Butcher,
Here.
Commissioner Sanchez,
Here.
and Commissioner Campos.
Here.
Commissioner Sanchez, lead us in pledge and prayer.
Please bow your head. Heavenly Father, we just want to thank you once again for your presence in our lives. Ask that you would be with us today, this evening, during our city meeting. Father, we ask that you would help each one of us as we make decisions that affect our city. Ask that you would just give us the wisdom, give us your counsel, Lord, so that we may make the right decisions. Father, today we just want to also thank you very much for each of our employees, all the city staff, commissioners, those that take care of us. We ask that you would give them a special blessing, Lord. Ask that they would just continue to help us move forward as we continue to see our city improve, things that are going on. Thank you for them, Lord. Father, today we just also want to thank you for this special day for the veterans. Thank you for the work that they have done for us, the service to our country, those that continue to help keep this country safe. Father, that you would just bless and keep each one of them, wherever they may be across the face of the earth. Bless them, Lord, in their efforts. Thank you, Lord, for our law enforcement, our firemen, those that do keep us safe. We ask that you would keep them and make them, Lord, prosperous in everything they do. Father, we ask these things in the name of Jesus, thy Son. Amen.
Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Salute the flag of the state of New Mexico, the Zia symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures. Thank you, Commissioner.
Do I have a motion?
I have to make a motion to accept the agenda as submitted.
Second.
A motion is second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Do I have another motion?
To make a motion to approve the minutes as submitted.
Second.
A motion is second. Commissioner Gandy. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Went on to Commissioner and staff reports. Wyatt not present. Anybody got any questions for James or Wyatt?
I noticed that the road construction is about to begin. Well, we hope it's about to begin. Where are we gonna come down to on that construction from Ninth, or, excuse me, I just,
Get all choked up. Talking about it.
I guess I'm all choked up about it. I don't know what that's about. Anyway, I'll let you take it from there.
So, Mayor, Commissioners, that is actually the DOT's ADA improvement projects. So that is none of our doing, but it's my understanding. It starts around 9th and goes all the way up, I believe, past Main Street. I believe to Commercial is the scope of that particular project. So if I remember correctly, they're supposed to be done in July with that entire project.
Thank you, sir.
Sir. Yeah, and while we're talking about roads, the only thing that we're waiting on right now to start IPR and then the Mill and Inlay project on Jackson, we're still waiting on the state to sign off on the agreement. We actually had a meeting with DOT on Wednesday, and they advised me that, well, they now allow the Deputy Secretary of Transportation to sign off on agreements. So it's speeding up the process. We were supposed to have that agreement back last week. But I guess it's just delayed on somebody's desk in Santa Fe. As soon as we get that, we'll actually be able to proceed on those projects. I know both contractors are very eager to start before the harsh winter weather sets in.
Wait for that.
there any other questions? Gary?
We had your mayor and commission, we had our auditors were here last week, and basically they just said they were thankful that we were prepared and had all the information that they need. And it's the beginning of the audit.
I had a question.
Yes, sir.
Gary, during the last meeting, there was some discussion about monies in reserve. Would you care to update us on that? There was a little bit of concern with what we were told that evening.
Well, I didn't bring any documentation to give specifics related to the reserves this evening. But my key point was simply this, that we have to maintain spending within the funds based on what monies that they have available, whatever reserves they have available. That was my main point. And we had, at that time, the ambulance fund was kind of one that was hurting the most because we haven't received a lot from billing.
So where are we regarding our reserve?
I would have to actually go back and generate another report to give you some real specifics as far as the reserves by funds. But as of September 30th, well, I can't even give you that answer at the moment because I don't have the documents in front of me.
I guess my question is, are we meeting state mandated requirements?
As far as what the state requires related to our general fund, yes, we're meeting their requirement. And that's the main one that they require.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, for the board? Brittany?
Nothing to report at this time, Mayor and Commissioners.
Shannon?
I would like to say something.
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to thank Brittany for being here and filling in for Jaylene. She's been, I just appreciate her stepping in here, cold turkey, and taking care of things.
So do we.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
thank you.
we do too.
Thank you.
Doing a good job. Commissioner Sanchez?
Well, I'd like to give a shout out to Evelyn for her new position on the board that she was appointed to. That's a great help for Lovington and for our city and in this area. So we just thank her for her hard work. And I know all of y'all work hard, all of you that work for the city. So we just want to just acknowledge that you all do what you need to do and keep us moving forward. Because that's what those signs say out there, moving forward. So that's what we want to keep on doing. And hopefully this coming year, we can see a lot of improvements in things that we've had going, that we just need to finish and hopefully start some new projects. So I thank all of you for that. So that's the shout out that I have this evening. That's it.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Bernard?
Yes, I'd also like to give a shout out to Crystal and her crew. We've had a massive cleanup over on Martin Luther King Park. That is actually clean now. It looks beautiful. I don't know, most of you probably never seen that part of the world over there, but they did an excellent job. The city's help and chief and all you guys. It was awesome to get that done. It was really nice, and thank y'all for that. And also, I was just going to ask the Chief Lizardo of our fire station. How is it coming along?
Yes, sir. This morning I got the news that they had the power turned on out there. They had a few of the breakers kicked over, and they're set to have gas turned on at the building tomorrow, I believe. So hopefully it's moving along a lot faster than it has been.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Combs?
I just want to thank everybody for being out here tonight. It's cold, November night. Some of us have to be here, but not everybody does, so appreciate you guys being here.
Thank you. Commissioner Gandy?
I have nothing.
Thank you, sir. Chief?
Nothing to report, sir.
Thank you. Chief?
Nothing new to report, sir.
James?
Yes, sir. Just a reminder that this Saturday we have our Pumpkin People Festival out at the park. Starts at 1 o'clock. You can build your own pumpkin. We're going to be moving displays out there. There will be games, hair rides, s'mores, vendors, and we'll end it that night with a movie in the park, Sleepy Hollow. So if anybody knows of a headless horseman, we're looking for one. Also, on Monday, the 18th, over here at the Troy Harris Center, at 3 o'clock, we're kicking off the master planning portion of the Veterans Memorial Park project. Our design contractor will be down here, so we'll actually have a joint meeting with our Lovington Parks and Rec Board as well as the County Veterans Memorial Board. So it'll be about a 4-hour meeting, but this will actually start the process to kind of pull everything together, and it'll be the first of many public meetings that we'll have to discuss the actual project to come up with the final design of it.
And to elaborate a little bit what James talked about, since it is a park, our Parks and Rec Board will be involved on the design as well. Is that correct, James?
Yes, sir. They're actually one of the entities who will be at that meeting.
Yes. Yes, sir.
James, what was the
Sir.
date? What day is that again?
Monday,
Monday.
November 18th.
Thank you.
Patrick?
Quick question, I'm sorry.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
James, could you use some volunteers for the Pumpkin People Festival, you think?
Yes, they could.
Okay. Just curious. Thanks.
David, I remember the one I was gonna say now. Give you say.
Go ahead.
We were discussing a while ago, Chief was saying about the DOT. They're going to do from Main to 9th Street on that street. The DOT is the one that does the light, right?
Yes, sir.
Which
And
light? We need a light there on 5th and D. Really, I mean, I have to take my great-grandkids to school in the mornings, and you can't get, if you're on 5th Street, by the time you get there, school's already almost finished, I guess. So, and people, I see people just struggling and people just upset because, in lines of cars, just because they can't get, and sometimes I have to go all the way to the light and then go back on Avenue D to get where I want to go.
yes, sir.
You know, I mean, that's one thing we all need. Does everybody agree that we need a light on D and 5th? We do. That breaks up 9th Street to Main Street where people don't come rushing from one side to the other, and people are just waiting and waiting and waiting. I mean, I'm patient, but we need that just because a lot of people aren't patient. And I'm afraid there's going to be some road rage stuff going on if they don't do something, because some people get real upset. I mean, this is something I've been wanting for I don't know how many years. I'm not going to leave this commission until we get that light. If it takes 20 more years, I'm going to.
Sure. Mayor Commissioners, we have submitted several times. Unfortunately, the traffic counts that they capture at that intersection do not meet the criteria.
Then we'll come in the morning.
Yes, sir. They do 24-hour traffic counts, and we've done it several times. That's also why we're capturing additional stuff, because we haven't forgot about that. But essentially, the only way that we would ever get a traffic light is if we actually made the $1 million plus investment and installed it ourselves.
I think we better start working on that.
Stop saying you wouldn't.
Let's get some enchilada dinners going or whatever. Tacos, anything, just get our light.
Thank you.
Get all the churches together, yeah, that'll do it. They're good at raising funds.
Thank you, Commissioner. Patrick?
Mayor Commissioner, no, that's before.
Thank you, sir. Moving on to public comment. You guys like to state your first, last name, please?
Hello, I'm Andrew Biza. I'm here with Eric Nagley and Felix Treviso. And we would like to say sorry about what happened to the pumpkins. It was very wrong what we did. We're very sorry and we promise it will never happen again.
Any questions by the board?
What did you do?
We kicked them and punched them and destroyed them.
Let me ask you this. What made you do something like that?
We just saw it and thought it'd be fun. Had nothing to do really, and we just were bored and thought it'd be fun.
And was it fun?
No, sir.
Okay. What are some lessons you learned from this?
Not to touch other people's properties and respect them more.
What about the other two young men behind you?
I'm truly sorry about what I did. I didn't mean to do it. I was just, like Andrew said, we're just bored and didn't have nothing to do.
Board?
Yes, sir. I'm Eric Nagley, and I want to apologize again for destroying the pumpkins out on Artesia Highway. Like Andrew and Felix said, it wasn't like we had this plan to go out and destroy these. It was just kind of like we were coming back from Maljamar hunting and fishing, and we just came back and we just thought it'd be kind of fun to, mess around and do, teenage things that, aren't really teenagers. They're childish.
How old are you guys?
17, Felix is 18, and Andrew is 16.
So who are you apologizing to?
The city as a whole.
The city workers who
The
putting
city
in light of
workers,
ours,
the
assembling
city
that?
people, the city of Lovington, everybody.
Would you like to do something to make up for that?
What would that be, sir?
I'm just asking, would you like to do something to make up for that?
Yes, sir.
The three of you?
Yes, sir. Us three work, so I don't know if that will inflict our time on working, but we would definitely think about that.
Okay, let me offer this to you, okay? We appreciate you guys being here and apologizing.
Yes, sir.
That's huge, all right? But at the same time, sometimes there's consequences to our actions.
Yes, sir.
So we would like to ask you to volunteer for this festival, this Pumpkin People Festival happening this Saturday. Would you guys be able to do that?
We do work on Saturdays, but I'm sure we work at the same company, so I'm sure we can talk to our boss and work something out. Andrew, I can't speak for
Yes, sir.
Andrew, so.
Okay. All right, would you guys get with Mr. James Williams here, and he'll coordinate the hours for you guys to come out.
Yes, sir.
Will that work for you guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank
Sounds
you.
good. Thank you.
Hang on just a
We're not
second.
done.
Each commissioner wants to say something. Go ahead, Commissioner.
I've got one question for you. So in the industry that's really popular, the industry that's the strongest in our area is the oil field industry.
Yes, sir.
And we have something called stop work authority. So when you see someone doing something wrong, you're supposed to stop them.
Yes, sir.
So my question is, after this experience, are you courageous enough to stand in front of your two friends when they do something wrong next time and say, no, not this?
Yes, sir. We've been pressed by the cops. We've been pressed by all of our friends, and it's honestly kind of embarrassment to, at least me. I can't speak for them too, of course, but it's embarrassment to have to go through that, to be known as the people that destroyed pumpkins. And Wilson, he was very kind to us, and he respected us a lot and helped us out a lot. I don't know who exactly he called about it, but I believe it was you, sir, Officer Wilson.
Yes, sir.
I believe he called you about it and talked to us about it. And at first we were gonna be in a lot of trouble, and he helped us out a lot in not getting us a record or anything in that case.
So my question is still asked. Somewhere in life, this question is going to come up. It's going to require you to stand up in front of your peers, your friends, and other people. Are you courageous enough to say no and stop that act?
Yes, sir.
What about you, young man? I believe so. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Commissioner Sanchez.
Well, I want to commend you all for, like Brother Campos said, thank you for being courageous and to come up here and apologize. It took a lot to do that. It's a very big thing to do that in front of people. And I think you guys did the right thing. And I hope we all learn a lesson from it, because I know I used to do things when I was young, not good things, but I learned. And so finally, here I am. So you guys can learn from this, and don't lower your head, but keep your head on high. Just keep on doing the right thing, and eventually you'll be an example for somebody else.
Yes, sir.
And that's what we want to thank you all for being here.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Commissioner.
And this is just for all three of y'all. It's just a lesson well learned. And I commend y'all for being here and standing up, for the city of Lovington. And I just want, your parents, it's all in respect for just the people that surround you, even your friends. And it's like Commissioner Gandy asked, would you be able to stand up and face them and tell them, no, hey guys or girls, this is just wrong. but I do commend y'all for that, and just hope it's a lesson learned. It's something that'll follow you the rest of your life. You'll remember that and say, wow, we had a second chance. But thank y'all for being here.
Gentlemen, and also, take pride in your community. When you see stuff, little things like this, we kicked this off this year, and a lot of people participated in it. And a lot of people put a lot of heart into it and try to make our community smile. And I know this action really upset a lot of people. But once again, as the board said, we appreciate you guys standing up and standing up to what you guys have done and come forth to apologize. But just take pride in the community and put Lovington first. Thank you, gentlemen. Have a good
Sir,
day.
thank you.
Hey, one more thing, the people that are here in the audience, they represent the city, all right? Would you turn around and offer your apologies to them as well?
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Crystal.
Cristobal, I'm here on behalf of Keep Lovington Beautiful. We have our Recreate event coming up next week. Projects be turned in on Monday, the 18th, all afternoon from 3 to 8. And then we will have our actual award ceremony at the end of the week on Friday, and that'll be from 4 to 6. We have cash prizes to give away, movie tickets to give away, so influence everybody to make some recycled art or craft and bring it in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, City Commissioners and Mayor Trujillo. I'm here to invite you guys to our to our networking session this Thursday. It's going to be at Drylands. We're particularly targeting businesses in the construction. What we're trying to do is bring a little bit more awareness of the funding available for commercial properties in order to remodel them and get them off of being vacant. So we'll be featuring a ton of different electric companies, plumbers, HVAC, construction, a little bit of everything. There'll be realtors too, so if you're interested in selling or purchasing a building, we'll have you covered there. And then I also wanted to remind everyone that the Local Innovators Institute application is due this Friday, and that is for anybody who's interested in starting a restaurant or going into the food industry. We're hoping to reduce the risk associated with starting one. So let us know if you have any questions or if you want to come out. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Anybody else have anything? Okay, moving on. Non-action items, James.
Mayor and Commissioners, we have a couple of different boards and commissions. Of course, the terms are set to expire. On our Planning and Zoning Commission, Mr. Gomez, Joel Gomez, his term will expire on December 31st. We only have 2 meetings after this one, so we wanted to start the discussion now on reappointment or appointment of someone else for a 4-year term. Senior Citizens Board, we have Elisha Bixby, Wilma Kimball, and Virginia Spears. Those are 2-year terms. We then also have on our ETZ board, this is a 1-year term. These are the 3 individuals appointed by the City Commission. So we will definitely reach out to these individuals to see if they're still interested in serving. We then on our library board, this slide is actually incorrect. Sharon Williams is the only individual whose term will expire. With the library board, this is a little bit different as far as how it's appointed. The library board by ordinance will make a recommendation to reappoint an existing member. They send that over to the commission. If the commission approves, that's good. If for some reason the commission does not want to appoint that person, then the library board has to submit 3 additional names for that. We also have our youth center board. These 4 members, their terms expire, and if you remember, about a month ago, we actually discussed the attendance at our youth center board and how we've had difficulty meeting quorum requirements since last October. We did advertise the potential vacancies, and staff have not received any interest in or contact with anybody wanting to serve. We then also on our Parks and Recreation Board, Taylor Insalon is our youth center or our youth representative. It's a representative who's between the ages of 16 and 21 who's a Lovington resident. As you can see, Taylor has not been able to attend any of our meetings. I know that she is currently at college. So we had, at our last meeting, there was a communication issue. That's the only reason we didn't meet quorum at that particular meeting. But every other absence that we've had, it has been excused, I guess you would say, due to work. But those are just some of the board appointments that we do have coming up for you to discuss, and we'll bring something back to you in December for final appointment if we receive any interest in those potential vacancies or reappointments.
Any discussion by the board?
Okay. James, I think in discussing this with Commissioner Butcher, I think we've come to an understanding of combining the youth board with the Parks and Recreation Board. I think it's probably pretty practical to do that right now. He's on board with that, and I think it'd be something we probably can move forward with.
Okay. We'll bring back the draft ordinance that we had previously prepared that would do such a thing. We'll bring that to you at your next meeting for your review.
Very good. Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Commissioner.
Thank you.
And also to say that the Parks and Rec, they're assuming more responsibility, especially with the Veterans Memorial Park, so they're definitely gonna be under pressure a little bit from the vets and so forth to make sure it's done like they want it done. So I think I'm glad that we'll have a good attendance and an open mind as well. Thank you. Moving on to action items. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion for ordinance 573, an ordinance that will amend Title 8, Section 8.20, fireworks and explosives in the Lovington Municipal Code.
Second.
A motion second, Jameson.
Mayor, Commissioners, if you recall, we did have multiple discussions and get permission to advertise the final ordinance. And tonight is the night that we specified in the legal notice that we would consider for final adoption. This version of the ordinance means all permissible fireworks in the state of New Mexico are allowable. It essentially mirrors the State Fireworks Safety and Licensing Act. We did some corrections to some punctuation and spelling errors. We clarified the definition of a permissible firework. It does mirror the state definition. We do require the local and state permits to be in place. It's part of all of your inspection processes and before you actually can sell those. It does also remove the ban. We had language back when they implemented the ban. I believe it was back in, or lifted the safe and sane language in 2006. We had language that was left in there inadvertently, so this does remove the ban on aerials and ground audibles. The only way that the commission can actually take action on a partial ban, which would be the ban of aerial and ground audibles, is through the drought proclamation. Hours and dates of use, we did some modification to this. Of course, on July 4th, Chinese New Year's, September 16th and May 5th, the allowable use is 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. On New Year's, you can start at 7 a.m. on December 31st, but you have to end at 1 a.m. If it's sold outside the holiday, for instance, July 4th, they can sell from June 20th to July 5th. The days that they are allowed for sale outside the holiday, they can use them from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. And hopefully that would curtail a lot of the noise complaints that we had. We did remove the residential area restriction within our code simply because it was unenforceable as far as the use of those. And we did add in there specifically wildland areas that do exist within the city. You can't use those in those open spaces. And that is a summary of that ordinance, and I would stand for any questions.
Any questions by the board? Commissioner Bernard?
No, I'm actually good with that. It's not taking away from anything that, from the public or citizens, just
Correct.
revising, updating.
Okay. There's no questions by the board. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion for resolution
219-126, authorizing the sale of real property, North Main Street, with proper legal description.
Second.
A motion second by Bernard. Commissioner Bernard. James?
Yes, sir. Mayor, Commissioners, if you recall, we previously awarded this particular sale of property, which is the small strip of land that's on North Main Street between the 1400 and 1500 block. It's the unused and undeveloped portion of right-of-way as well as a small parcel. It's less than 1 acre. That was awarded to Eddie Valencia and his investment company for development for a hotel and some retail. We were waiting on the legal description, and all this resolution does is state the specific legal description of the property so that we can continue with the title search and closing process on this.
Any questions about? Everybody good? Have a motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to consider resolution 2019-127, support of Lovington Main Street proposal for fiscal year 2020 Main Street capital outlay public infrastructure funding.
Second. Motion second.
Mayor, Commissioners, before I turn this over to Mara, who's going to make the presentation, this actually is a letter of support, or I guess the form of a letter of support for their capital outlay efforts. New Mexico Main Street does have access to capital outlay funds. This particular project has been on our ICIP. One of the application requirements for this was a resolution of support by the city. All of the plan, project, and improvements does conform to our downtown master plan as well as our comprehensive plan. But turn it over to Mara.
Good evening. So our capital outlay request is for $80,000 to New Mexico Main Street. As James said earlier, every community that is a Main Street community has access to capital outlay funds that are completely separate from regular capital outlay funds. And so what we're requesting for is funding for our wayfinding system. This would be 2 entryway signs to the downtown area, as well as 10 street signs that would direct people to different landmarks or specific areas. We will also include 2 kiosks. These kiosks will actually allow you to use web-based to pull up either restaurants, museums, experiences, different variety of things. And we have already received funding from JF Maddox as well as the Lee County in order to pursue this. So this would just kind of help us get together actual construction documents and a little bit more of the actual purchasing of the equipment. And do you have any questions?
Any questions about it? Thank you. Had a motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Do I have a motion?
Yes, sir. Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion for resolution 2019-128, approval to advertise ordinance 574, an ordinance to the city of Lovington, New Mexico, amending Title 10, Chapter 10-04, Uniform Traffic Code, adopting the 2019 amendments, reference, and amending penalty assessments.
Second.
Motion second. James?
Mayor, Commissioners, this is a little bit later than normal. However, every year, as you know, the legislature, they do adopt changes to the traffic code. So this will give us permission to go ahead and proceed with advertisement of the updates. We simply adopt the Uniform Traffic Code by reference. To highlight that, they did add DWI with a minor in the vehicle. There is punishment clarification for unlawful use of license and driving while suspended. Also, there's administrative suspension language added along with penalty assessments for that. Designated disabled parking spaces language was added, and also the acceptance of electronic insurance documents now that in case you need to provide proof of insurance to a law enforcement officer. As far as the 2 penalty assessments that were added, one was penalty assessment, I believe it's for expired vehicle registration, as well as the driving while you're administratively suspended. And that's all I have, sir.
Good to go. Any questions about the board? Had a motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Do I have a motion?
Yes, sir. Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion for resolutions 2019-129, authorizing execution of memorandum of understanding between the fire department and Eastern New Mexico University Roswell paramedic training.
Second?
Motion second, James.
Mayor Commissioners, this is just a formal agreement in which basically the fire department and Eastern New Mexico University, who provides the paramedic training, they are doing an off-campus course. They have not offered this in well over a decade. But what this agreement does is ensures that we will provide 3 of our employees the ability to go and participate in the paramedic training, get their licensure, while at the same time ensuring that even if one of those students fails out of the program or drops, we still have to cover the expenses of that third person to make sure that the off-campus costs are covered. The share, I believe it's Hobbs Fire Department, they are sending 8 of these individuals. It will be hosted at the Hobbs Fire Department. We are all basically being charged a set amount per student. So this program will take anywhere from 18 to 24 months for them to complete. So the tuition and travel costs would be spread out over that time period.
Any questions by the board? Had a motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we consider accounts payable.
Second.
Had a motion second, Gary.
Your mayor, your mayor and commission, I'm here to answer any questions if you have any about our payables list. However, a couple of highlights, I should mention that we made our final payment to Constructors Inc. on the first page of the $420,000 related to the CDBG projects. And then below that, where it says Lee County State Bank, the $95,050.90 was our first debt service payment for the loan we'd gotten through the EDC for the purchase of the cheese plant. But if you have any other questions, I'm available for answers.
Gary, what's the 11,000 for to Higginbotham?
Oh, for Higginbotham, that's several departments and multiple amounts of supplies. I couldn't identify, I've got 2 pages worth of items. I'm gonna blame it on pumpkin people. It's not us.
How about the, I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor,
Go ahead, sir.
the 95,000 to Lee County State Bank, what is that about?
That was our first debt service payment for the loan we acquired through the EDC department to purchase a cheese plant.
Okay, that's right.
How much is outstanding with the new fire department? What do we have left to pay them? Do we have anything paid or not?
We do have one more payment left. Would be the final payment. I don't remember what that exact amount is. I'd have to look at the last pay application.
I'm good with it.
Scott?
You good?
Just say pay the bill.
I had a motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Do I have a final motion?
Make a motion, Mr. Mayor, that we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?